Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. I'm Kristi Shive, and this morning we're visiting with Kelly May. She's a Senior Extension Associate for Family Finance and Resource Management. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning, Kristi. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being with us. And we are talking about something very fun today, bringing home a new pet. And when bringing home a new pet, there are many things to consider. Kelly, what are some of these considerations?
Absolutely. There are a lot of things to think about, and we're going to talk about money in a minute, and there are some expenses. But before we talk about that, let's think about what a big commitment a new pet is. Be sure to consider it thoroughly and make sure you're ready, because this is someone who's going to be with you for a while, maybe years. Consider the lifespan of the animal. Some small animals live for a short time, and some larger animals, or even some small animals, live for a very long time. So we need to make sure that we'll be able to care for that animal the whole time. If it's an animal for a child, how old is your child? Are they a younger child or a youth, or are they getting ready to go off to college in a couple of years because somebody's going to have new rover friend in a couple of years when your young one gets older and has to make that decision. So the lifespan is important to think about, and also how much interaction and exercise will it require, because some pets require a lot of space and attention and time and care, and it does vary greatly between what kind of animal you choose. Another thing to think about is how often do you travel? And, there could be expenses associated with that. Think about dangers in your home or yard. So if you haven't had a pet before and you're thinking about getting one, um, are there ways to lock away anything that might be poisonous? Or can you separate personal items that you don't want to get damaged if it's somebody who likes to chew or scratch? Can you section off areas of your yard that may not be safe? And so those are some things to think about. And just generally making sure your pet has the space and is able to get the exercise it needs.
Now, Kelly, you did mention costs. So, what are some of the initial costs that we can consider when adding a new pet to the family?
Well, it does seem like there are a lot of costs when you first get a pet. Sometimes you pay for the pet itself. So you might have to pay to purchase the animal if there's a particular breed that you want. Sometimes those cost more than if you go to the shelter. So there may be an adoption cost or a purchase cost, and then there may be medical considerations. So the animal may need vaccinations or some other medical procedures. You might need to consider spaying or neutering. Some of the homecoming supplies. So you're bringing your new friend home to your house, and you want to make sure your new pet feels at home. And they're going to need a lot of things. Of course, we all have our things that we need. Our pets need someplace to sleep. So they're going to need a crate or a cage, maybe, depending on the animal. They may need bedding. There may be, obviously, they will need food and probably dishes to eat it from, and maybe bathing supplies and more. If your animal requires a leash or a collar, that's certainly something to think about. And you may need multiples if it's something, you want to have for your convenience. You may want to have a leash here and one that you keep somewhere else, or one for on the go. You might want to consider an ID or a microchip. And then you may need a gate to close off areas of the house or the yard. And then some pets might need training, and you might not realize that until later. So that's just something to keep in the back of your mind, that maybe as you make your pet budget, you might put a little money in that column just in case it's needed.
Kelly, thank you so much for helping us consider all there is to bringing home a new pet. We do love our fur babies,
Mm.
and they are called fur babies for a reason. They do come with some costs. But Kelly, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for joining us today on the Farm and Home Show, and we'll see you next time.